and welcome back to a new journaling session. Let's take off that noisy charm. Today I am going to focus on some storytelling in my journal. I'm going to need a decent amount of space. Oh, should I do the middle page? Yeah, let's do the middle page today. I've just got a whole load of random photos. You know when nothing particularly goes, there's no particular story, but just lots of little stories. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. I am going to be using some Photoplay. I've used this again recently. I got sent this by Paper Maze to play with, so I do this bit as an ad gifted. And I just kind of want to have fun with these papers. I'll leave a link to these down below. Look how fun and colourful these are. I like that one. No particular plans at the moment. I've got some stickers as well, but I just thought it'd be really fun to have a play, add loads of photos on a page. I might end up needing to do a flip actually, because I've got quite a few, and just do a whole load of just bits and pieces today. So I'm looking forward to making this one. Yeah, I think a flip would be really good. I want to do one where I love both sides of the paper. I do that one. I do love the hearts, but it's just a bit too busy. Well, it's not that it's too busy, I'm not fond of that side, so I'm not as fussed with that one, so I'm not quite sure. I need to have a little think about this one, but I do like the yellow. So actually, let's do, how about we do this as, let's cut this down here, and I'll do it as like a folded flip. How about that? That would be a really good way to add quite a lot of photos. So it can sit like that, and then fold like that, and then fold back in again like that. We can add a tab. Oh, I like that idea. That's quite cool, isn't it, to fold out? And then, because that's quite a lot of yellow, the hearts that I love so much, I might include those. Let's add, ouch, a little bit of tape, because I just want this, oh, I can't get my tape out. I want this page to be all about the stories, and just, but there's no long stories, it's just all lots of little bits and pieces. So I don't want to give up a page for each photo with a little story. I would rather just have them all on the one. I think that would make more sense. The other thing I wanted to chat about today was the difference between scrapbooking and journaling. I am previously a scrapbooker, 12 by 12 scrapbooker, absolutely years. And I started kind of like coming over to journaling around about 2017. I'd always made like little mini books in between scrapbooking. So I'd kind of dabbled with mini journals for years. But then I kind of started playing with like proper journals in about 2017 when I started trip journaling, and I kind of wanted to make slightly larger versions of my mini books, which is what then kind of like took me over to journaling, and I loved it so much. My style completely changed. I just felt like I had so much more freedom, and I have definitely stuck with the journaling. For quite some time I was like transitioning between the two, and I would still do scrapbooking for like the special occasions, and then I would do journaling for like every day. But now I stick with the everyday journals, with everything. I absolutely love it, as you'll probably tell from if you watch my videos. So, but for those that kind of aren't aware of the difference, scrapbooking usually is like your 12 by 12 size, and journaling, they're more in like little books, like journals, obviously. I do feel that scrapbooking is the more formal version these days. The photos play a much larger role, I feel, whereas in journaling, it's more the stories that are the important thing. And quite often you can even do pages without photos if you don't have a photo. You can often do something to substitute a photo. You could find an image in a magazine or something like that. And we use a lot more everyday bits and pieces, a lot more junk. in journaling as well, which is obviously when you get your junk with journals. Today, as you can see, I am doing a little bit of a hybrid version, I guess. I'm using scrapbooking papers. I've got a collection here, which, like I said, I'll leave the link to down below, but I'm using that in a more fun way in my journal. So it's the scrapbooking stash I'm using, but into a journal. I kind of call this, because obviously this isn't junk journaling because I'm not using junk. I call this creative journaling, as I feel that's what, you know, this kind of is. I'm journaling in a creative way, but using scrapbooking supplies. I do like to use a little mix of everything. I feel I am a scrapbooker at heart. It's where I started, and I'll always have a love for scrapbooking. So I do like to kind of like dabble between the two. And I feel that creative journaling is a really good go between the two. The photos for me are always important. They're always a big part of my journaling. I don't tend to very often journal without photos. I'm very much a storyteller. That's really important to me. I think it's the stories that actually lead my pages. It's the stories that I kind of pick first, that want to kind of like influence my page, where it's going. So the stories for me are the most important thing. And I feel like days like today, when I've got a load of different photos, there isn't one particular story, there's lots of different ones. This is when a journal works so much better than a scrapbook. I like the interactiveness with a journal as well, which you don't really get with scrapbooking. You've got your plastic wallets with scrapbooking, your pages, your like scrapbooking layouts are behind the plastic pages. So when you've got like little flip bits, it just doesn't work the same way. And I think that's the other thing that I really love about the journaling is the playing. It feels very playful, quite childlike at times. I really like that. I like this page that I've just created with the flip page, like folding it, being able to flip it over. I love pockets. I love adding tabs. I love the texture. I feel that journaling is very touchy-feely, whereas scrapbooking, again, you can add all the texture, but it's behind a plastic wallet, so you don't get the same enjoyment flicking through a scrapbook album than you do a journal. Does that make sense? Let me know if you feel the same. What's your thoughts? But yeah, so I think for me, journaling just works so well on so many levels. It really does. I think playful is the word, isn't it? It just feels a lot more playful, and that's something I really enjoy doing. So I'm just creating this page today. Like I said, I've got loads of stories, loads of photos. We're just going to pop it all on one. And the other thing is that I feel it doesn't look cluttered. Having loads of stories like today, because I've got the flip pages, it gives me that space to tell my stories. I could even pop a bag or a glassine envelope or a little pocket and then pop stories behind that, and they're easy to get to read. Whereas again, with the scrapbooking layout, it's not quite the same. If you fill a page with photos, it's full. Whereas with journaling, because you can add flip pages and pockets and things, it just means that you can put loads and loads of photos on a page, but it can appear that it's not that full. So yeah, I do prefer it. I would say now, although I'm a scrapbooker at heart, I think I do actually prefer the journaling. I love the freedom. It's just, yeah, I think it just suits my style so much more. But like I said, I do like to sort of like lean back into my scrapbooking style, which I feel is a little bit like what I'm doing today. And I find like pages like this very playful. I do like to vary up my pages sometimes. So sometimes I'll do like just junk journaling with junk pages. I love to like cut things out of magazines and use bits and pieces that would ordinarily be thrown away. And obviously with scrapbooking, you are using bought supplies. This is what I'm using today is sold for scrapbooking. So that's a big difference as well. But I love the colours, I love the supplies, I just love it all. I just love a mix of all of it. So I would never say I'm a junk journaler. I would never say I am a journaler or obviously a scrapbooker. I just love it all. And I like to dabble in a little bit of everything. And I think, again, that's what I love about journaling. It gives me the flexibility to try anything. I feel with scrapbooking, there are rules, although anyone can break rules, but I feel with journaling, there's a lot more freedom and you can do whatever you fancy. and you can play with it, experiment. You can use any techniques, any supplies. It just all goes. So I'm kind of like spreading out the little stories here. I want to make sure I've got enough space for my journaling. I love these little tickets. Anything like this I find really exciting. I'm going to use these to tell little mini stories. So like I said, I've got several here, but I don't just want to write on all the papers. I like to keep it fun and interesting, keep it really interactive. So I'm going to use some of these for a little bit of journaling. So I'm going to cut these up and then just scuff up the edges a little bit, again, just to give it a little bit more interest. This is one of those pages, like I said, where I've got quite a lot of photos. You know when you've got loads of trip photos, but some of them just don't warrant their own page, but you don't want to not include them because they're quite fun. Like the one there with Mum and Andy, we were waiting. They're the ones on the left. We were waiting in the Toy Story queue, and there was just some images on the wall, and I realised that actually when they stood behind them or stood in front of them, it gave my mum a pair of ears and it made Andy look like he had a frog on his shoulder. And because I'm such a child, I found that really funny, so I took the photos. So yeah, there's no massive story other than us just messing around in the queues, but I wanted, like I've got here, stories, moments captured. These are just little moments from our trip. We've got a couple of ride photos here. I've just basically gone through my free prints collection that I've taken, and I've just pulled out a load of photos that don't really mean anything or have any huge story attached, but I'm just going to throw them all on a page today. This just sums it all, this happy life. These are just silly little snippets. So I think sometimes you need a page like that, don't you? So like I said, no massive stories. I haven't even decided at this point how I'm going to journal, but I know it's all going to be in bits and pieces, which will be fun because I like that kind of thing. And I grabbed my tab top punch to add to the top here because it just looks a little boring on its own. This collection comes with some really, really good stickers. I'll leave a link to everything down below. It's a good 12 by 12 sticker sheet, so I'm going to grab some bits and pieces of that, cut a few more of these little guest checks out. These would also make really good tags, actually. I could have popped one behind a photo and pulled out. Saying that, I've got quite a lot of space on this page here, so I didn't really need to create extra journaling space because I've got more than enough here. But I'm going to pop these on here as well and just add my little journaling spots throughout the page. I think this is going to be a really, really cute one. Another thing that I haven't touched on yet, the big difference for me between scrapbooking and journaling is the size difference. And that's another reason that I stepped away from scrapbooking. The 12 by 12 albums, as beautiful as they are, and believe me, I have so many. I think I've got between 20 and 30. It's the size of them. They are huge. They are bulky. And it just made me feel one day, what on earth are my kids going to do with these one day? They take up so much space and the guilt lays heavy with me. I've had so much fun with them. Journals you can make in any size. They are so much smaller. And I just felt like I needed to be practical with the size. I still don't know what I'm going to do with all my scrapbooks. I have so many, and don't get me wrong, I love them so much. I had a big birthday recently and we had the family over, and I pulled out quite a few of my scrapbooks from over the years, and it was so nice just seeing everyone looking through them and laughing and reading stories and just going over the memories. And that's the reason why I started scrapbooking as well. It's to keep the memories. So I don't want to step away from that, but there is a big guilt side to me as well because the scrapbooks are so big. I have even thought about dismantling some of my older scrapbooks and putting them in journal size, but to be honest, I've got so many journals on the go anyway. I don't really have the time to do that, but it is something I've thought about and is something I would like to do, to maybe even try and decrease the amount of scrapbooks I've got. So I could take the photos off the scrapbooks, copy some stories, but do them in smaller form. That's an option. I've heard of people actually even photographing their scrapbooks and popping them into, as in like the 12 by 12 layouts, and actually popping them into photo books. That's an option as well, because you've still got the beauty of the page, you've got the stories, you've got the photos, but they're obviously in a much more, in a smaller, thinner version.
than a huge, great big chunky scrapbook. So that's an option as well. So at this point, I would love to hear from you, please. What's your feelings? Scrapbooking, journaling? Have you ever scrapbooked? Have you just come into this as a journaler? Are you a scrapbooker, but you don't journal, but you still enjoy watching creative videos? Are you thinking about making that change, or have you now just recently decided to give journaling a go, see what the hype's all about? And does the size of scrapbooks bother you too? Do you have the same thoughts go through your head? Because I know speaking to others feel the same as well. But it's a tough one, isn't it? It really is. I don't want my family to feel that guilt, and I would like them to do whatever they choose to do with my scrapbooks one day. I want them to enjoy them, but I don't want them to feel the burden with them as well. It is a really, really difficult. But like a friend of mine once said, that the main thing is she's enjoyed the creating. It's been for her. And that's what I kind of need to think about. This is for me, it's my hobby. If the kids do want to keep any of them, that's a bonus. It's entirely up to them though, but I don't want that burden laying heavy with them. It's definitely my hobby, that's for sure. And I'm not going to stop doing it either. I'm going to carry on keeping all these memories and enjoy every single moment of it, because I love it for so many different reasons.
So a few days later, and I'm back at my desk, and I'm just having a little think about this. I've decided to leave this page free because I think I'm going to struggle to have enough pages to tell all the stories anyway. So I'm going to leave that side and just focus on this, because this is quite a lot already, isn't it? I do have this life sticker. I keep looking at this. I think I'm going to use this one as well. I might just pop it, though I've got a good story to tell there. Maybe I don't need this one after all, actually. Or I know what I'm going to do. Pop it down here, and I know exactly what I'm going to say on there for the journaling. So I'm going to get stuck into the journaling right now. Nice thing about doing journaling like this is because you're doing it in bits and pieces, it never feels overwhelming. It feels really easy, and you never feel like you've got to fill a page or anything like that. Right, I'm going to get stuck in, I think, and start doing a little bit of journaling. Something else I like to do amongst the journaling as well is having little stickers, because I think that breaks it up. I think if you've got a decent amount of journaling but just have it in one block, it feels quite overwhelming on a page. But to break it up with little stickers and things, I think that makes a really big difference. I love making my own journaling lines. You can turn anything into a journal spot this way. Let's cover that up so I don't smudge it. Let's talk about, I'm going to talk about the photo pass on Dinosaur. I ended up running down to the kitchen. There's the photo of myself with the frozen cappuccino dream from Joffrey's. I've just run downstairs and tried to recreate it. It's nothing like it, but it's still nice. Anyway, back to my journaling. I also like I was saying before, sort of breaking up the journaling. So like here I've got a sticker, here I've got one of the pattern papers that I cut out, and this time here I'm going to run some journaling along the side. Again, it breaks it up really nicely, doesn't make it feel overwhelming, and I think it just gives a page a lot of interest when you've got kind of journaling scattered around. I've even got a little bit on the tab top there. I've done that on the reverse as well. Just a few little bits and pieces. Oh, this one would be good to run it alongside there actually. So I've got the journaling that side and the journaling down there. That's a nice idea. When I've got a little space, I always add a little heart just to fill it so it doesn't look a little bit lost or empty. There, I like how that's turned out. I didn't plan that, it's just kind of happened that way. So now I'm going to do, again, I'm just breaking up the journaling. I've got a couple of small cards and I'll add some journaling lines down there as well. I might actually do that now. I'm not even using a ruler, I just do them really rough, and that can dry them whilst I'm doing this side. I also like to vary it as well, so as you can see, that's on the page, we've got a little sticker there, that's some rough lines on pattern paper, on a sticker, bit of pattern paper, so it's all completely varied. So again, it just keeps that interest there. I just don't want my pages to kind of look or feel boring. And that's it. I have finished our normal park day, all the stories, and then I have done loads and loads of stories here. This is a big pulley out one, isn't it? And here as well. I'm really pleased with how this has turned out actually. It's really come to life. The journaling has really made it. But it feels relaxed and chilled. I feel for me that's the biggest difference between journaling and scrapbooking. Journaling feels really relaxed. Scrapbooking feels quite formal. I would always write with my best handwriting, for example. It would feel a lot tidier, a lot more uniformed. I would want more of the perfection, whereas that's definitely something I let go of when I journal. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope it's inspired you. And I hope if you are a scrapbooker, it's maybe given you some ideas of how to transition from scrapbooking to journaling. And if you're a journaler, maybe some ways to kind of like influence your pages a little bit more with scrapbooking and try a different kind of style. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.